guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. And this video is going to take a look at the 8 most relevant, I shouldn't say the most relevant, but 8 of the most relevant superstars remaining in the NBA playoffs as of today, which is May 16th, 2023. We are on the precipice of the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Beginning tonight is the Lakers versus the Nuggets. And then I think tomorrow Celtics Heat get going. And so before those playoffs started, I wanted to bring you guys an episode where we look at the basically the best 2 players on each team, if not the 2 most collectible players on each team. And so I've got the card ladder indexes pulled up for the following players, and we're going to take a little bit closer look at some of their cards, not all of their cards, because we don't have time for that in this video today. But I wanted to look at the growth or the decrease over the last 3 months for these 8 players. Of course, from the Heat, you've got Jimmy Butler and you've got Bam Adebayo. For the Celtics, it's very clear cut. You've got your 2 super wings, your 2 super two-way wings, Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who take turns being the alpha and the beta, and who squeaked by the Sixers in the last round after a very shaky midway point during that series. You've got Jokic and Murray on the Denver Nuggets, with no slight intended for Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter Jr., but I think Jokic and Murray are carrying the load right now for that team, although Aaron Gordon's been indispensable. Michael Porter's been spotty, but Jokic and Murray is the pick and roll that's been devastating the entire NBA. And then, of course, for the Lakers, with all deference to Austin Reeves and that supporting cast, which has really stepped up. Post-trade deadline, I think Anthony Davis and LeBron James would be considered the 2 alpha mega superstars for that team, who have managed to this point, knock on wood, to stay healthy and make all of those people who said don't count out the Lakers if there's a healthy AD and LeBron. It's made all of us sound like geniuses, but I think this might be where this miracle this miracle run this year from a Lakers team that looked like they were dead in the water, this run might be coming to an end against what looks to be a super hot Nuggets team that's clicking at the right time with a really perfectly pieced together starting 5, just a really good fit amongst those starting 5 for those Nuggets. But anyway, let's get cranking. So I've got all of them pulled up, and I want to kind of work our way backwards. We're going to look at the last 3 months. Right? I like to look at the last month, but it's just not enough data points, and there's can get skewed or whatever. So when we're looking at these indexes, of course, the blue at the top is LeBron. His cards are worth far, far, far and away the most. And then next would be Nikola Jokic. He's the second most valuable of the players on this list. I shouldn't say that, but his index is second. If we're looking at the percentage change in the index, remember, this is charting just the cards that are in the card ladder database over the last 90 days. You can see in this column here how many cards each of these players have. Of course, there's 1,076 data points for LeBron. And again, remember, it's not 1,076 unique cards. A PSA 8 Chrome, a PSA 9 Chrome, PSA 10 Chrome, that counts as 10, as 3 cards. BGS 9.5 would be a 4th card. So it's not necessarily 1,076 distinct and unique cards, but you can see the index for LeBron is massive. So you're going to cover the gambit from high end to low end. Some of these other guys like Bam Adebayo, you're essentially just looking at his base Prizm rookie card and his silver Prizm rookie card in a couple of different grades. My guess is, BGS 9.5, PSA 10, PSA 9, maybe. I don't know. We'll look and we'll check it out. And then you're looking at for Jamal Murray, only 15 cards. So again, you're primarily looking at the base and the silver Prizm. Jaylen, same thing, which shame on card ladder. Those guys need to put in some more Jaylen Brown cards in there because they got 255 Jason Tatum cards and 11 Jaylen Brown cards. That ain't right, okay? That's a conversation for another day, the Jaylen versus Tatum conversation, but they kind of alternate being the alpha on that team. But to get cranking, it's no surprise Jimmy Butler and Jamal Murray are actually number 1 on the list. And the reason I say it's no surprise is because those guys were dormant. Those guys were completely off the radar. There are passionate Jimmy Butler collectors out there, and I'm sure there are guys who dove in on Jamal Murray in 2016, 17, and 18 and held through his severe injuries and held through all these years of good but not great Nuggets kind of teams. So kudos to them. If you're one of those people, I'm not one of them. I had a buttload of Jamal Murray's, and I ended up cashing out maybe sometime within the last 12 to 15 months and just said, you know what, give me my money. Let me reinvest it in some MJ and some LeBron stuff. But kudos kudos to you if you're one of those people who had the diamond hands, the strong hands to sit on all those Jamal Murray cards and kind of ride this out, and now you're getting the last laugh. So I always like to applaud people who show the patience and the fortitude and the foresight to prognosticate when a prospect is going to approach his peak. Not that this is his peak. 2021 is everybody's peak. But you can see Jamal Murray is second on the list. Jimmy Butler is first on the list because I think they were the lowest to begin with. Maybe Adebayo should be in that conversation. Jokic cards, despite being, fairly priced to begin with 90 days ago, are up 20% because he's done nothing short of prove that he's the best player in the world. Yeah, he didn't win the MVP award, but it was his award. He deserved it. He was statistically superior. It's one of those deals where voter desensitization, Mark Jackson didn't even have Jokic on his list, which I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I've never known him to show any racist type tendencies. I know that's what everybody kind of made it out to be, but Mark Jackson is brilliant. He's a good sportscaster. He knows his shit, and he definitely knows Jokic is one of the best players in the world. He literally did just not have Jokic on his ballot by mistake. I believe the guy. He deserves the benefit of the doubt. I've never known him to be anything other than a straight shooter, and I really do listen when he talks, and so I'm going to give Mark Jackson the benefit of the doubt on that absurd oversight. Everybody knows these ballots are open and they're not anonymous, and so nobody in their right mind would leave like a Jokic, a Giannis, or an Embiid off their MVP list because they know they'd catch tremendous shit for it, which he's doing right now. If it was anonymous and he got caught, kind of after the fact, that's one thing, but he knew these things were made public, and so there's no way in the world he meant to leave them off like out of spite or racism or any other absurd allegations. So I'm going to give Mark Jackson the benefit of the doubt. But Jokic is looking good right there in third place at plus 19%. Jaylen Brown up 16%. Anthony Davis cards up 4%. Yes, Anthony Davis cards. People are riding the healthy bandwagon. The worst performing are LeBron and Tatum, who I would say are the two most collected on this list. I don't think that Jason Tatum is a better player than Jokic, and LeBron is certainly not a better player than Jokic today, but I would say there are more LeBron and Tatum collectors than there are Jokic collectors, and so for them to be last on the list is pretty interesting. Double digits in the negative over the last 90 days, which is, again, why I keep banging on the door with these LeBron cards. Again, I am trickling a little bit more money into my LeBron collection right now. When I see red double figures over the last 90 days, when a guy is legitimately got, I think he's right there with the Nuggets. The Lakers have as good a chance as any. I think the Nuggets are going to pull this out, but the Lakers have as good a chance as either of the teams in the East for sure to come out of this thing with a title. I am dipping my toes in the LeBron waters right now continuously with those negative returns. If we look at the last 6 months, Jokic in a landslide, up 27% over the last 6 months. Murray, Brown, and Butler. And so this is the interesting flip. Over the last 6 months, Jaylen Brown's looking great. Over the last 3 months, Jaylen Brown's in the negative. So that's interesting. Jimmy Butler clearly is building momentum over the last 30 days. So he's kind of doing the opposite of what Jaylen Brown is doing. And I don't know what's going on with the Jaylen Brown cards because his last 30 days have been fantastic, despite the Celtics, again, being a little bit on shaky foundation. But I attribute that to Marcus Smart being a moron. Over the last 6 months, why don't you look at Anthony Davis cards, down 78%. Can you imagine? That's if you have a $100 card, it's a $20 card. If you have a $1,000 card, it's a $200 card. That is an incredible drop. LeBron cards down 40%. That's why I've been buying the last 6 months. I don't know what else to say. I think long term, and when I say long term, I mean 5+ years. I think LeBron is the best investment in the hobby. That's just me personally. Jordan is the least risky. LeBron is the next least risky player out there. I guess you could say and argue that vintage cards and Kobe and Shaq and some of these other guys, whatever. But my goodness, for an active player, it doesn't get any more sure-footed and have any stronger foundation than LeBron James cards. and he's down 40% over the last 6 months. And again, a lot of that may be attributed to his meteoric rise during that 2021 year. If we scroll out to 1 year and we look at it, again, remember over the last year, cards in general have dropped. The basketball index generally is way, way down. So for anybody to be in the green over the last year is truly impressive, and that means that they're bucking the trend, and they are outliers, and that is Jokic and Brown, the only two in the green. In fact, every other player is double figures red down, with Jimmy Butler being in third at a minus 18% over the last 1 year. And then, of course, Anthony Davis right there, almost 80% down. Bam's 50% down. Tatum and LeBron are 37 and 47% down. What about 2 years? It's going to get worse, I believe. Jokic is a destroyer and a devourer of souls. He is the gold medal winner, as up 44%. Congrats to any and everybody out there that has been a diehard Nikola Jokic PC guy. That is really impressive. And again, a lot of this 2-year growth stems from the fact that not very many people wanted his crap before his first MVP. Well, now he's 2 MVPs later. I know he's big and he's slothy and he looks like the dude from Goonies and all that, but he's going to age well because he plays an old man's game as a young man, and so he's going to age very well. He's going to slither and slather up the court and massage people for 20, 12, and 10 for about 40 more years in the NBA. Unlike Giannis, unlike some of these other guys whose game is predicated on freakish athleticism and physical superiority, Jokic is physically superior in the fact that he's a hell of a lot bigger than people realize. And so he is a gigantic, massive human being. A lot of people do not understand that. He is huge. He's not your average 7-footer. He is a massive 7-footer, but he's just uniquely skilled. He is, to me, I have come to the conclusion he is the greatest passing big man of all time. No offense to, Wilt, who led the league in assists. No offense to Walton. No offense to Arvydas Sabonis. No offense to any of those other great passers that came before him. But Jokic is the greatest passing 7-footer that the game has ever seen, and I don't think it's really even close, to be quite honest with you. Not just from a racking up assist standpoint, but from a passing flair, but from a court vision standpoint, being able to throw any and every type of pass, being able to throw out of double team, everything that you need from a passing big man. He checks every single box. 2 checks. So Jokic up 44%. Everybody else in the red, with Adebayo and Anthony Davis actually being down more than 80%. And this is where a lot of the Jamal Murray recent green and recent growth, like we saw in the 3-month, comes from the fact that his cards were down 65% going into these 3 months. And so the 9 months that preceded the 3 months of growth were horrifically down. And so when a player's come down that much, they've got more meat on the bone and more room left to grow. And so that explains a lot of this with Jaylen Brown and Jamal Murray. LeBron's just been a pretty steady down, to be quite honest with you. Again, I can't keep saying it, but that's why I'm buying the guy. So let's look at a couple cards. I want to look at the Jimmy Butler. This, believe it or not, is the #1 performing Jimmy Butler card over the last 3 months. It's up 208%. Yes, if you are calculating that at home, even in Louisiana, that is 3x, right? I know 200%, you would think 2x, but no, it's 3x because 100% is 2x, 200% is 3x. So this card sold for $43. A Jimmy Butler BGS 9.5, the card that you see on your screen right here from the very first year of Prizm, the most important Prizm product ever released is 2012 Prizm. This base card, which has been graded about 1,900 times, let's just guess, 1,900 times approximately between PSA and BGS, once sold for $43 only a month ago. This is 40 days ago, less than 40 days ago. The card now sells for $132, so that's 3x your money. Again, it's hard to scale. Interestingly enough, the PSA 10 is up 113%. That's 2x, and that's a card that you could have scaled if you wanted to. There's 892 of those bad boys out there. You could have bought 50 of those cards at under $100. The card got as high as $260. That's probably when he went apeshit a week and a half ago or whatever. And look at the run that card's been on over the last 3 months. Let's look at the last month, up 55%. So at a time where people are starting to cash out these playoff investments, the cards actually run up, and that's with a recent decline here. The last 2 have been actually down. So that's the Jimmy Butler card to kind of keep an eye on. 2012 Prizm is I don't know. It depends on your perspective. Is it high pop? Is it low pop? There's 892 of them. That's 3 figures. So by ultra-modern standards, I guess that's low pop. By 90s collector standards, I guess that's absurdly high pop, and who cares? But take it for what it's worth. Here's an interesting dilemma, not a dilemma, but a dichotomy that I want to show you. We saw the Nikola Jokic cards are significantly up, right? They're in the green. He's exploding. He's got a chance to win his first ring, solidify himself as one of the greatest bigs of all time. He is working that way. If you go look at how many 7-foot true centers have 2 MVPs and 1 ring, it's a short list. If, he wins another MVP or wins another ring, he becomes in very elite select company, and you start mentioning him with, I know this is going to sound crazy for some of you old folks like me, but you have to be open-minded and have an open perspective. He starts to be mentioned in the conversation with David Robinsons and Elijah Wans and guys like that. I mean, he's got 2 MVPs. I don't know what else to say about it. And he's one of the most prolific offensive players at the center position the world has ever seen. He does it in a different way than Wilt did it, in a different way that Shaq did it, but he does it. And so it just depends on your perspective. But the cards that have done the best, you would think, well, is Silver Prizm, clearly, because, in that year, the silver, 2015 silver was not high pop run. There's not that many of them out there, and that's kind of his go-to chromium product. But look at all of his silvers, right? Let's just type in Silver Prizm. All right, here we go. There's Silver Prizm. The PSA 9 is up 5%. That's pretty much flat. And again, we're looking at the last 90 days. His BGS 10 hasn't sold. His BGS 8.5, BGS 9, some of these haven't sold, so that you're going to see a 0%, meaning they're flat because there's been no change in the last 90 days. But looking at his silver PSA 8, down. BGS 9.5 silver, down. BGS 9.5 silver, again, I don't know why that's on there again, down. I don't know what's going on there. That's a glitch right there that Card Ladder needs to fix, clearly. His silver PSA 10. This is his flagship Silver Prizm rookie card, the card that anybody would think of as the investment card if you were just looking to get in low at a four-figure type price point and then get out high and make, $400, $800, $1,200. This would be the card you'd look at. The PSA 10 is down 25%. That's the card that I thought would be doing the best out of all the Silver Prizms, and it's down 25%. So that's one thing. Here's the other thing that I wanted to show you. Look at Jokic's base cards. What in the hell is happening here, right? I was told that base is trash. I was told that silver over base. I was told that base doesn't matter. I was told that nobody wants base. Well, somebody wants base. His raw base rookie card is the best performing between the silver and the base. His base Prizm raw is the #1 performing card over the last 90 days with 126% increase. His base 9.5 SGC is up 100%. That's double your money. His base PSA 8, which why in God's name would anybody want a modern chromium card in a PSA 8 slab? I don't know, but it's up 50%. His base 9.5, unlike his silver PSA 10, is up 28%. Remember, silver PSA 10 is down 25%. His base 9.5, which nobody wants, a Beckett, base Prizm card from 2015, allegedly. Apparently somebody does. It's up 28%. Base 8.5. All of these are up. Look at how much is in the green. Is this crazy? What is going on here? Even his PSA 6 shows up in the Card Ladder. Interesting. Get some Jaylen Brown cards in there, damn it, Card Ladder. But his PSA 10, again, is of the good performing. It's the worst of the best performing of his base Prizm cards, which, again, is very interesting to me. I don't know what's going on. Let me know in the comments what you think about this strange disparity between silver and base, with the base vastly outperforming the silver over the last 90 days. And then the last card I want to look at is the Jamal Murray. That's Jokic's sidekick. And I've got his silver 2016 PSA 10. Remember, it's only a pop 187. Only about 630 have been graded, 640, something like that have been graded. It's a 55% gem rate and 78% gem rate with BGS. Remember the good old days when it was easy to get gems? Not anymore. PSA and BGS are twisting people's testicles. No offense to the ladies that are watching, but if you had testicles, PSA and BGS would reach up, grab them, and twist them off and give you PSA 7s and 8s on cards that you think look like 10s. I know, because I no longer have any testicles because they are at PSA and BGS. They took them away and they're keeping them for themselves. I would like my testicles back if there's a way to arrange that. But this Jamal Murray PSA 10 silver 2016 is up 43%. That's a lot on a card that's a pretty good price right here, right? So you're talking about a card that last sold for $450, substantiating the $440 right before it, $300 here. The card's been as low as $285 and as high as $450. So the last two sales are the highest two sales. That's a good sign for Jamal Murray cards moving forward. He might be the point guard for your 2023 NBA World Champions. I don't know what's going to happen in these. If you made me guess, I would say Nuggets are going to win the title. After that, if I had to gamble money, I would probably bet it on the Celtics, honestly, because the Celtics, I think, have the third best odds, but I think that the Heat's run is over. I know everybody said that. We thought it was over when they matched up with the Bucks. We thought it was over when they weren't going to make the play-in. We thought it was over when they weren't going to win the play-in. We thought it was over, in round two. I don't know what to think of the Heat. Jimmy Butler is a Superman. He will forever have my respect. Playoff Jimmy will forever be a term that we use in this hobby. If you made me gamble money, I would probably bet on the Celtics because I think their road to the finals is easier. And I also think that, past history has led us to understand that referees in the playoffs allow Al Horford to literally hump the other player. They allow Al Horford to sexually assault whoever he is guarding, and they don't call fouls. Al Horford commits 75 fouls in an average 30 minutes in an NBA game. That is a fact. Watch it close. If it's Celtics and Nuggets in the finals, Al Horford is going to put both hands, his nuts, both knees, his feet. He's going to put his whole body on Nikola Jokic, and the refs are not going to call anything. I don't know how he gets away with it. He did it to Giannis. He did it to Embiid. He does it to smaller players when he switches on them. For whatever reason, the referees love Al Horford, and they never call those fouls on him. And again, I'm not an Al Horford hater. It's just that he pushes my team out of the playoffs repeatedly, and my team has trouble playing against him because he's allowed to do whatever he wants with his hands, which is just unfortunate, and it muddies up the game. So we'll see how the referees officiate that if it is Denver and Boston in the finals like I think it's going to be. That's my pick. Let me know what you think is your pick in the NBA Finals below. I'm going to let this video out sometime early this afternoon on Tuesday, May 16th. I'm really excited about watching these games. The Nuggets-Lakers series is going to be epic, man. A lot of historic ramifications on the line here with LeBron trying to push forward, take one more step forward. He's eliminated the Warriors dynasty. That's going to get blown up. They're not coming back as currently constituted. I don't think baby whiny bitch Kuminga is coming back. I think they may keep Moody because he seems to be the one professional out of that group. Jordan Poole is unlikable and whiny and a little baby and spoiled and complainer. Klay Thompson is a fossil, and finally I look like I was correct saying Klay has finally lost that half step that allowed him to get separation on his jumpers, and that's why you saw his percentages drastically down. Steph continues to defy Father Time, just like LeBron does, except he does it with a little normal body like I have, right? He's a little 6'4", 195-pound guy. Somehow he continues to defy Father Time and gets to the rim better now at whatever age he is than he ever did before. I don't understand what Steph Curry is doing or how he's capable of doing it, but he is absolutely fascinating, and he's somebody that I wish I collected, but I don't, because he stands for everything that's good in the game except defense. So, but I didn't play defense, and so that's why he'd be a perfect person for me to collect. So anyway, thank you guys for watching as always. Let me know which of these cards surprised you. Are you surprised by the Jokic base versus silver comparison? I think that's really, really strange. Are you surprised by any of the index comparisons? Who's performing well over the last 6 months? Who's not? Anybody up or down that you would be shocked about? How about the fact Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo are down 80% over the last year or 2 years? That's really crazy. That is like really, really bad. And I do feel for all those AD collectors because AD was the real deal, man. AD, from a talent perspective, is the real deal. And, we're seeing it in the playoffs. He's stayed healthy for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, knock on wood again. And the Lakers can't afford to miss him or LeBron for a game or it's lights out. So hopefully those two guys stay healthy and we get to see that two-headed monster versus the Nuggets two-headed monster. And then those supporting casts can go at it and people can have great conversations and debates about who's going to win this series. I got Nuggets and Celtics in the finals, and I think the Nuggets are going to win this thing. That's who I picked from the beginning. That's who my FanDuel money's on, so I've got proof to back it up. I've got money on the Nuggets. If they beat the Lakers, I may cash out because I worry about Al Horford, impregnating Nikola Jokic in the finals and the refs laughing about it and ignoring it and looking the other way. as I mentioned. Anyway, am I the only one that's crazy that thinks Al Horford fouls somebody every time he gets near them? Thank you guys for watching. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby, and peace.